What's up guys, it's me Deshaun, and today we're going to be talking about how Shinra became the god of Soul Eater and basically reconstructed the universe of Fire Force as we know it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch the video until the end, because I will be going over the effects that his godhood put on the world of Soul Eater. So the first thing I'd like to bring up is, what does the creator of Soul Eater and Fire Force, Atsushi Okubo, want us to take away from both of his stories? What is order? What is madness? With Fire Force originally being set in the reality of our world, as an artist, what is he trying to say? And with both of these stories, he says a lot. But for now, I want to specifically go over what it means for Shinra to become God. Throughout Fire Force, there is a plot point on whether or not Shinra will become a hero or a devil. And this would make up the ultimate decision on whether or not Shinra will let his thoughts on himself and who he wants to be become his reality in who he truly is, or will he let the thoughts of others taint that image for himself and turn him into something he's not. I view myself as a hero, but because of those around me, they destroy the confidence I have in myself to maintain that by making me out to be a demon. That is the inevitable reality. People are going to think differently than you, and they're going to see you differently than how you see yourself. You might think you're a cool or fun guy, but other people might think you're boring, corny, or even lame. That is the real world. That is how it works. People have these different opinions, ideas, and beliefs, but inevitably those thoughts, those beliefs, and ideas are going to be a part of my reality, whether I like it or not. You know who you are better than anybody else, and you know what your truth is. Maybe your friends even believe you because they know you and they know how you really are. And then there are those people who don't believe in you, who see you as something that you're not. That might not be the truth, but when it comes to the people that don't like you, that is the truth that they believe in, whether or not it's a lie. And if you let this lie disguised as a truth affect your reality, you can ultimately become something that you're not. There is the side of you that is you, in what you want to be and who you are. And then there's the side that isn't you. The part of you that you might be afraid of or think that might actually be your true self. Deep down, in the deepest pits of your subconscious, or the darkest or crummiest side of your heart, there might be that demon that you constantly fight, that piece of shit version of you that you battle with every day. You know for a fact you're not like that, and that monster inside is not who you really are. But ultimately, it is a part of you you must accept, because that evil side of you, that alluring feeling to do something mad or immoral, will tug at you to make you do something that you don't necessarily want to do. But at that moment, if you have the courage to fight it, you will ultimately become stronger. And this is exactly what Shinra did. He accepted his current reality. I am a hero. I see myself as a hero, and my friends see me as one as well. But the world sees me as a devil. So Shinra decided to accept that part of himself, that image, and became both. He found balance within himself and used both perceptions of himself, whether it was good or bad, and made it work. He took a hopeless situation, the idea of what people thought of him, something he could never change, and made a miracle out of it. If humanity wants to get swallowed by the depths of despair, and I don't want them to, if I'll be a devil in order to save them, then so be it. Originally, the god of Fire Force was the evangelist. She made the world a shitty place because it didn't have any balance. They took our world but manipulated everyone through religion to make them all believe that they should want to die, because that is the end point of humanity. But we know this is all a lie that the devil created to make you live your life in fear. They took our world and turned it into a world where the Kishin's lies, the evangelist lies, or the devil's lies would be able to justify any inconsistency that they could make. But luckily, humanity was still able to follow its beliefs in such a deranged and crazy world, to show that the evangelists' philosophies and lies that they sold as the truth were not. How could humans want to die if we have survival instincts? During moments where we might be afraid or death might be upon us, these same instincts give us the power to overcome the challenges that might be in front of us. It gives us the courage to fight against whatever we may fear. That is how we know for a fact we are being lied to. When Shinra becomes the next god, he creates the world and bases it off of this battle between hope and despair. He bases the world on the simple truth that he's learned, and that would be the mathematical law of positive and negative. There are positive and negative attributes to everything in the universe. How could life exist without death? How could God exist without people? How could hope exist without despair? If you're in a bad situation, simply because that bad situation exists in the first place, there is a possibility, no matter how slim, that hope will always prevail throughout anything. Even if we were to look at it from the other way around, if everything's good in life, simply because the idea of good existing, there would have to be a bad to balance it out. What good is strength if you don't do anything to prove that said strength? Just naturally being strong defeats the concept of what strength really is, and that would be one of the reasons as to why madness would exist in the first place. The fear and allure to madness and being able to fight against it is what gives you strength. Because if strength as a concept existed by itself, if everyone was quote unquote strong, strength as we know it would not exist, because that would just simply be the norm. Shinra recognized these inconsistencies, recreated the earth with balance. When he created Shinigami, or more or less God, he put himself into him. This would be why Asura looks just like Shinra. He would be the demon side of Shinra that was festering during the entire story of Fire Force. He is one side of the same coin. And Kid would more or less be the hero side of Shinra that developed through the story of Fire Force as well. It's pretty interesting as well because Shinra would parallel both of these characters. In the world of Fire Force, going against order seemed like the right thing to do. But in the world of Soul Eater, for Asura, it is inevitably the wrong thing to do. There needs to be a balance, and this is why Kid would exist, the hero side of Shinra. Because madness cannot exist without order, and order would not be able to exist without madness. When it comes to the Kishin and Shinra, things do get a lot deeper, because Shinra would rebel against the Evangelist's order, and Asura would rebel against Shinigami's order. But in Shinra's case, he was justified and right, because humanity was getting manipulated by the Kishin. But it seems as though, since the Kishin is the embodiment of fear, and what Shinra's fear of his own perception would be, he thinks that Shinigami is doing the same exact thing that the Evangelist did to humanity in Fire Force. It's almost as if this devil side of him is in a perpetuous state of rebelling. As he says, both this insane world and what you consider the normal world were created by Shinigami's whims. You human beings are nothing more than his puppets. This is literally what happens in Fire Force. This would be the demon side of Shinra rebelling against the order of the world in Fire Force, taking form and living on in the world of Soul Eater, and becoming the series' main antagonist so that the world would be able to stay in balance. The original Death did maintain order over the world, but he maintained order to such a degree it became its own madness, and that is why he had to split himself up. Because too much good was creating bad, or in this case, too much order was creating madness, which led to the birth of Asura, the Kishin. So he split himself off into two different fragments. One fragment being Shinra's evil side, and the other being Shinra's good. The constant battle between these two would maintain the balance of the world. And this battle would continue to rage on and would be exactly what Maya predicted at the end of Fire Force during her fight with Shinra. In a way, Maya is no different than Shinigami with the madness of order, believing that the world should be nothing and the end point of humanity is death. Kid almost became like the evangelist, and this is exactly what he learned in the book of Abon. Because when Kid got mad, he believed that transsymmetrical nothingness was the answer to everything. This would be no different than the evangelist's end goal in Fire Force, putting an end to the cycle of life and death, and using death as its endpoint. The act of nothingness. This would be what transsymmetrical unity is, death. But, as we were talking about before in the video, everything needs balance. And you can't have death without life. Nothingness and death aren't the same thing. Nothingness means negating even the possibility of life. It's the same as denying life itself. And you would need that balance of the kishin and Shinigami, or I guess you could say Kid in this case, to maintain that balance. Because if you get too much order, it then becomes evil. Shinigamis are all about balance because this is what Shinra laid out. This battle at the end of Fire Force would be the embodiment of the constant battle between both hope and despair. A balance that is maintained to keep the cosmos and the world running. Too much order can make madness, and we see this with Death and the Evangelist. What makes both Fire Force and Soul Eater so special is the fact that both of these stories balance each other out. They are exact opposites of one another. In Fire Force, order is overthrown, while in Soul Eater, order is maintained. And you see how Shinra and his two alter egos develop, his demon side and his hero side. These two alter egos become gods and maintain that same balance that he learned throughout the story of Fire Force. And other characters in Soul Eater will follow this same path and learn exactly as Shinra did. Everyone lives life and experiences that same perpetuous cycle that Shinra once did, because that's what it means to live. But at the end of the day, our lives are in our own hands, and we can make the reality that we have in front of us our own. And if you have the courage to not fear death, to live life, become a god, and have the ability to shape your own reality like characters such as Blackstar, Kid, Maka, Benimaru, and Arthur, life can take you places that you would never even fathom, as long as you're not afraid. There is a lot more that I have to dive into when it comes to the cosmology of the gods in Soul Eater and Fire Force, but I will save that for another video. Please keep your eye out. I hope you guys enjoyed, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next Soul Eater or Fire Force video.